Are you okay? I'm wondering if there's like a medical clearance that needs to, like, do you need medical attention before you go to the jail?
No.
Okay. I'm just concerned about you. I know you don't believe that. But you're sure you don't need medical attention or anything like that?
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, it was late August 2023. The place where the endless deserts of Utah and the people were some crazy ass no, just mothers actually. And just when you think, it can't get any crazier, well, life is full of surprises when you're dealing with insane people. See, that late August, a young boy had ran to his neighbor's house, and he was not looking too good. He was hungry, malnourished, and he needed help. He had escaped a house just down the road. The police were called, and after getting into the home and finding even more children...
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out of the house.
Step out of the house.
Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just going to see if they're going to be else home.
Wait a minute, how do you come in my house?
Right there.
They come on into my house.
Well, the stars of the show were quite literally stars of YouTube. And here was Ruby. Diamond in the rough. More like Ruby in the shite.
My hands are down. You got me. Arrest me. Get off.
Place your hand behind your back for me. Perfect.
Let's give it a go. This saga began all the way back in 2015, if you can believe that. A YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. The person who clicked that little old Hello World button was a woman named Ruby Franke, born Ruby Griffiths. She was 33 years old at the time, eldest of 5 siblings, and married to husband Kevin Frankie. And they called their YouTube channel 8 Passengers because Ruby plus Kevin plus 6 kids makes 8 passengers on the Ruby Franke train. Choo choo! The oldest of their kids at the time was 13 years of age. That was Shari, followed by Chad, Abby, Julie, Russell, and Eve. Ruby met her husband, future husband Kevin, in college. They were studying at Utah State College. She was 18 at the time. He was 21, and things just go swell.
Passengers, good morning. Okay, passengers, I want to do a morning routine for you. A gymnastics movie.
We love
Chad, how are you enjoying this?
It's really cheesy.
And then Julie gets up and I take her and her friend to swimming practice.
By the way, it should be known that Ruby's siblings also have their own YouTube channels. It seems like YouTube is kind of like the family business for the Griffiths Frankie family. Because hey, listen, my life is just so interesting, I gotta share it with everybody. They presume. Now, the Frankie family were members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, probably the whole kind of Utah thing, lots of kids. Probably kind of gave that away. They were pretty devout as things go. Ruby herself, she'd grown up in a pretty strict religious household. They weren't in your face about it, but they didn't try and hide it either.
Do you want to play tic-tac-toe with me?
Okay.
I'm glad I cleaned his toilet. Did you guys see? For his birthday, one of the presents I gave him was I cleaned his toilet.
You cleaned it?
By hand. I cleaned it by hand.
You did not.
I did.
So the channel began in Springville, Utah. And for Ruby, it was just a way to document her family's life and for her children to see the power of a mother. Her words. It was also, again in her words, a way of slowing down time so she could, take the time and appreciate each and every moment. Here's a quote from 2016. This was about a year after the channel had begun. They had about 30,000 subscribers at this time. She did an interview with a local news station. I have a tendency to worry about the future and try to plan for the future. And I get so caught up in it, I forget to live in the now, in the present, and just enjoy the kids. And so when I pull out the camera, it's just a reminder to let my heart rate come down and just to enjoy being with the kids as they are right now. The channel grew and grew, eventually amassing a whopping approximately 2.5 million subscribers. And life was good. It was, the channel was motivational, life tips, parenting tips, and a view, inside this nice, wholesome, perfect family. And they would post 5 days a week. Ruby was in charge of it all, from the filming, to the editing, to the uploading, and all of that.
We are here!
kind of batshit upload schedule 5 days a week, but hey, clearly it paid off. It was a huge success. Listen, dollar bills, y'all. And the intention they were getting in YouTube just grew and grew and eventually became mainstream attention, and Ruby Franke became like a leading, what's called a momfluencer. Which I hate that that's a word, but it is. We do live in the darkest timeline. But, booty. Over time, the channel was growing and growing. People began to kind of notice some things. Some things started kind of slipping through the editing process of this whole, squeaky clean, perfect family. And people were like, that's weird. Especially as you're trying to giving parenting tips. Your parenting style is probably not one most people want to emulate. Because you kind of look like you're treating your kids like shit. Ruby was kind of horrible at times.
Okay, so it means that you can't have your phone for the summer.
I'm only gonna say it one more time, and then you're gonna lose the privilege to eat dinner.
She was getting stricter and stricter as the channel progressed, meaner to her own kids, treating them as unruly cast members at times, not her own biological children, which, should probably come, before YouTube. No, I think it's no matter what kind of job you have, your kids should probably come before that. Unless your kids suck. I'm not a parent, I don't know. See, Ruby was always there, no matter what the life event was. Whether it was something tragic or something troublesome or whatever. You know that movie Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal where he plays a freelance cameraman who's kind of like a vulture just going around LA looking for stuff to film? Ruby was kind of like that. She was kind of a shitty paparazzi in her own home. Hey, listen, you gotta get that shot.
Play a game. How many times in this video do wet ones come to rescue mom? Seriously, how many times?
This, in fact, led to a petition on change.org in May 2020, asking CPS, Child Protective Services, to investigate the Frankie household. Quote, "Hi, if you don't know who 8 Passengers are, they're a family of 8 YouTube family. They have produced video content since around 2014-2015 regularly, and in recent years have been subject to controversy in the past for things they have done, such as taking their youngest child, Eve, to the supermarket naked at the age of 3 with just a diaper on. Another was when she told us Russell did not have autism because it was something along the lines of he was not intellectually challenged. Thirdly, she sent her son to a behavior camp, which focused on kids who had done drugs, carried knives, etc., for the reason that he was kicked out of school. And finally, the subject we are talking about today, she banned all electronics from her kids all summer, including TV. The children appeared very sad in the recent video, saying they have no friends, and Ruby's response to this was, "That is a very vulnerable thing for you to say. Do you want me to keep that in the video?" Surely if she felt sad about this as she sounds in the video, she would act on what they have said. This is due to them having no access to talk to their friends whatsoever, due to Ruby not allowing them to. To add to this, Chad, her second oldest, told us in the recent video that has recently been taken down that he had been left on the floor for 7 months on a beanbag solely because he teased his brother. If you can agree with me on this, the removal of a bed and being left on a beanbag is not going to not only give him a lack of sufficient sleep, but also create spinal problems. Ruby and Kevin say a bedroom is a privilege and that they have consulted their therapists and psychologists. I think a lot of us would love to know who these people are, since if you read on the removing privileges, it states removing basic necessities is child abuse. That petition eventually gained 18,000 signatures, which is a pretty decent chunk. It was clips like this, which drew cause for concern.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months and then you give it back a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October. And they gave my room back 2 weeks ago.
That was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
It was not funny.
You can play with friends.
No, I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either.
If you cut one more thing in my house, I'm going to take the scissors, look at me, and I'm going to cut its head off.
A text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
Chores gotta be done. Food, hey listen, it's a privilege, not a right. If only there was some kind of like declaration of human rights which could kind of solve this quandary we're in. Beds, they're also a privilege. Physical exercise, that's a punishment, because we want to really make sure you ate any kind of physical exercise at all. One year, 2 of the kids were singled out, as in Christmas is cancelled for you two this year, which is honestly the cruelest thing I think you can do to a kid. Just really cruel, vindictive stuff that if they were probably doing it to your own kids or nieces and nephews, you would probably do things to them that would get you in trouble.
Definitely stay tuned tomorrow to see the jackhammers. Let us know who you think won the graffiti contest. Was it Squidward? Was it SpongeBob? Or was it Patrick?
Hey, you forgot mine.
What was yours?
So more and more videos were coming out, criticisms, speculation, all about the channel, about what they were doing, and here Ruby, who was like Queen Bee over here, she was just getting more and more defensive. It's not me. It's not me that's wrong. It's you. You're the shitty parents that are criticizing my shitty parenting.
They're not anybody's children but mine and Kevin's, and we are doing a really good job of listening to them. If you want to get people really riled up in social media, you start talking about responsibility. It's like the R word. People don't like to hear it. And we are actually training our children to be ready for the real world. We've been accused of not training them for the real world. Actually, we are. And I think
just because we shield them from distractions, we're being told that we're not preparing them for the real world.
I think that there is a lot of fear that is coming because the viewer actually isn't. If you are one of those people who has commented hate because we're not preparing our children for the real world, I think the truth is...
Eventually, they would get cancelled. And then Ruby, is it me? Am I the one wrong? The person is clearly abusing their kids for video content? No, it's the people who are calling me out. They're the ones who are wrong. This is what Ruby would have to say, because when she, again, was cancelled, listen, I'm standing up for what I believe in. Never thinking to take a single moment for, introspection and, damn, what I believe in is, shit. The reason we got cancelled was because I was demonstrating, as I have done from day one, what a responsible mother looks like. And it scared the living bejesus out of these kids, who do not want to be held accountable. So that is the motive for the hate being thrown at me. I'm the antidote to their acting out, and they know it. She's abusing your kids, and if you don't like it, you're a hater. This kept exacerbating as 2020 turned into the years that followed. This perfect image they'd cultivated for 5 years by this stage, it was completely shattered. The arrogance that was wafting off Ruby and co was pretty astounding at this point. The clear and obvious signs of abuse was just getting worse and worse. It was just getting worse. And Kevin Frankie, who's the husband, he would kind of pop in and out of videos, but he would, always support Ruby, whatever decisions were made. However, this shit hit the Frankie fan, and the couple began counseling. Ruby and Kevin began marriage counseling. And so they went to see a woman, and their counselor was a woman named Jodi Hildebrant. Jodi's a bit of a character. She was an author, life coach, and creator of ConneXions Classroom. I think there's supposed to be a C and a T in there, not an X, but listen, I'm gonna tell them. Which worked on drug rehab and that sort of thing. She was a walking red flag if there ever was one. Not only a giant grifter, but she was also a huge word I can't say on YouTube. Here's a guy who himself had Jodi as a marriage counselor. This was back in 2021.
What was your experience like with Jodi Hildebrant?
Pretty negative, to say the least. She was not a very good counselor. Not at all. So I saw Jodi Hildebrant with my ex-wife. We were married at the time, and it was couples counseling was the purpose of the meetings with Jodi. The first thing that she wanted to ask about is, before we even started talking about anything, she just goes, "Have you ever watched pornography?" I knew she was a bad counselor from the first session, but the second session was where I was really not only do I think she's a bad counselor, I think there's something really twisted about her thought process. I just felt like she was corrupt.
Where did you go see her?
It was not in-person sessions. So Jodi, I think one of the biggest ways that she makes her money is by having a lot of people be able to do really quick Zoom sessions. And so we did it on Zoom or something of the like through her ConneXions company. It sounded to me more like a cyberbully group to bully the individuals in the group than it was a therapeutic conversation about supporting each other and making marriages work.
Jodi had been married, 2 kids, and now was estranged from all of them. You know, it's a real noodle scratcher. Man, you know, the kind of people, her husband, her kids, want nothing to do with her. Wonder if they have any good reason to? Probably not, I'm sure she's fine. She's a counselor after all, that means she's like smart. She was kind of a, wannabe cult leader. I guess is probably the best way of describing Jodi. Her teaching was that some people, listen, you gotta check this shit out. Her teaching was that some people were in what she called distortion. And, you know, if you want to make a true and honest connection to another person, well, you just got to get out of that distortion. Most people are in distortion. It sounds like Scientology or some bullshit. So you want to get rid of your distortion? Well, here's the tricky part, like the little conundrum we're kind of in. Distortion can really be whatever Jodi wants it to be. And that's where the grift comes in. Addicted to video games, shopping, addicted to entertainment, living in shame, distortion. Knowing you are not enough, boom, distorted. Living in lust, you sick son of a bitch. She describes living in lust as being attracted to your spouse. You want to bang your husband or wife? Sorry, guess what? You're distorted, you goddamn freak. So you're probably thinking, jeez, that's some of the stupidest goddamn shit I've ever heard in my life. Ruby, though, on the other hand, she was licking her chops. Didn't Jodi and Ruby just hit it off? Best friends 5 ever. It was like coffee and chocolate, whiskey and cigars, pee and poop. And so the person Ruby and Kevin had gone to try and save their crumbling marriage, Jodi Hildebrand. This marriage counselor, Jodi, she recommended the best way. You want to save your marriage? You serious about saving your marriage? Alright, split up and never talk to each other ever again. Kevin, you're out of the house. You're not allowed to talk to Ruby or the kids ever again. This was all done under Jodi's direction, guidance, and orders, essentially, that Ruby seemed only too happy to comply with. It was like Jodi had become a sort of Grima Wormtongue to Ruby, a little evil advisor. And so Kevin Frankie, he was Audi 5000, my friends.
Welcome to the Empowering Joy class. I'm Jodi Hildebrant. I am sure you're here because you have a desire to heal, a desire to have joy in your life and connection in your relationships.
What I have found is Empowering Joy, and it is now a family favorite.
When Kevin edited a picture of Jodi, she was in there like swimmer. She probably saw the giant audience and attention the Frankies were getting, and she was like, whoa, don't mind if I do. I'll have a little bit of that, have a slice of that cake. Eventually, 8 passengers died, and reborn was ConneXions. Ruby to be a huge part of this, you know. She joined up, she became a leading member of it, she became a trainer, a mentor, they would host a podcast together, and it was all kind of just parenting tips and tricks. Really bad ones. Not gonna lie, they had some, weak Elliot, very spicy takes. By the way, the Manson lamps in these videos, out of control.
I'm Jodi Hildebrant.
And I'm Ruby Franke.
How to recognize behaviors that are in truth rather than distortions.
How fast do you see truth? Do you see truth in the moment, or do you interact with your child and then you go to bed and then at 2 a.m. you wake up and you go, wait a minute, I just got played? or do you
This is peak Manson lamps, folks. And they created Moms of Truth together. Well, Moms of Truth, so you know they can be trusted. And the abuse of the young ones just got more and more extreme. Ruby and Jodi would beat the kids regularly, tie them up, lock them in rooms. You'll see when I get to the police body cams, and it's just a warning, it's kind of rough, folks. Family members of Jodi would say, you know, it didn't just begin with the Frankie kids. Like, yeah, Jodi probably did that to her own kids and relatives too. So, you know, she was raring to go. You know, she's ready to dig in with hurting people. The oldest daughter, Shari, she was in college at this stage, and she was constantly trying to get help for her younger siblings, but nothing was ever really done. And so then, on August 30th, 2023, at about 10:50 a.m., the Santa Clara Police Department, they got a call from a neighbor of Jodi Hildebrand's, and this guy was calling the police saying, a kid just showed up to my door. It was 12-year-old Russell Frankie, and he was asking for help. He was emaciated, malnourished, with open wounds and duct tape around his wrists and ankles. He had climbed out of a window of Jodi's house and ran for help. He had gone to one house and there was nobody there, so then he went to the next one.
Wondering if you could do 2 favors.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station. Well, actually, just one's fine.
What's going on, son? Have a seat there.
It's personal business.
911, the address of your emergency.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he just came from a neighbor's house, and we know there's been problems at this neighbor's house. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty. I'm sitting outside with him on the front patio.
Okay, cool.
And he asked us to call the police. So he's very afraid.
The 911 call, it's pretty harrowing. The neighbor who called the cops, he's extremely upset by the sight and the obvious abuse this child's been through. It's pretty tough.
Well, okay, this boy has been... This kid has obviously been... I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds.
Okay. Let's get this paramedic.
I'll take more. If you want me to, you send them to you.
How did you get the ropes on you? Who did them?
And so, time to kick that bitch's door down, which the police did right away.
184. Front door's off to the left.
Ring. No, go.
Police officers, open up! Got movement right here.
Right there.
Contact. Got movement. Open the door! Jodi? I need you to step out.
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out of the
Step out of the
house.
house.
Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just gonna see if anybody else. Is there anybody else home?
Wait a minute, how do you come in my house?
Right there.
They come into my house.
Just have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right there. I'll explain everything after. Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant, sir?
Control 12x11. Can you hold the air? We're searching the house.
I can tell you what's in the house.
Okay. Just have a seat right there for me.
Do you have a search warrant?
We'll explain it after this.
You can't just come into my house without a search warrant.
We'll explain everything after this, ma'am.
But don't you have to have a warrant?
Not at this moment, we don't. We're here on exigent circumstances. And I'll explain it after this, after my sergeant and the officer are done clearing the house.
Okay, you want to put it on speaker? Okay, hold on. Okay, you're on speaker.
Well, officer, so the other individual, I don't know if that was you, mentioned that you would explain the purposes behind what you thought were the exigent circumstances. Can you tell us those now?
I can't. You'd have to talk to my sergeant or lieutenant about that.
Jodi's house real big, and there they found Eve, the youngest Frankie kid. She was in much the same state as her brother.
I'm Sergeant Tobler. What's your name? I just have one. Where's your sister at?
Contact one.
You okay?
Don't want to talk? Okay. There's nothing at all you want to talk about at all? It's okay to talk to me.
The kids had been kept in a panic room inside Jodi's house. That's how it was described, though if the way to open it was on the outside, it's not there to keep you safe. You know, it's there to lock people inside. Prison cell would have been more humane. Ruby eventually showed up at Jodi's home, and they were both taken into custody.
Alright, well, it feels good in here. So, hey, Ruby, at this time, I know you said that you're already detained, but I'm going to be taking you back to the police department. Okay? So I'm going to be hop up. If I can fit through here.
You want to put it in one of our vehicles?
Yeah, you want to. Okay, just place your hands on your back for me. Perfect. And then, right now, I can put a finger in each of these, okay? And I'm just going to double off those so they don't tighten up on you on the way out there.
Ruby looking for...
You don't have anything on you that I should know about, correct? Any weapons, anything that we're going to find?
That's a real shit stare right there. She's clearly been practicing her Manson lamps.
Is there anything you have on you? Okay, I'm going to search you before we put you in his car. That's just protocol, so I'm just going to have you step right over here.
Jesus, you wouldn't think she's just been arrested for baiting the shite out of some young'uns, would you? She looks like more like a teenager who had her iPhone taken away.
How are you? I'm going to have you come sit on this side for me. Thank you. Was this your water?
It's yours if you want it. We'll say that. How's that?
We also have snacks if you need anything to eat. So first, do you live down here or? Or do you live up north? Do you want to talk to me about where you live or how many kids you have? So we just spoke with your husband, and he said you guys have 6 kids. Are those all together? Are those all your kids? I can wait all day, so it's up to you if you want to talk to us about what's going on. Would you feel more comfortable talking to one of us?
Or do you want me to step out if you want?
Or if you feel more comfortable talking to him, I can step out.
I'll wait till I have a lawyer.
Okay. So you don't want to talk to us at all?
Ruby giving the cops the old silent treatment. She's staring and she's blinking slowly a lot. It kind of feels like she's trying to psych them out. Maybe even give them some of that good old distortion, you know what I mean?
Do you want to answer that? Or you don't want to talk to us about anything?
So yeah, this is just your chance to tell us. We're just trying to get your side of the story. So it's your chance to do that. But it's up to you. We're just here to talk. And I mean, I'm not asking any criminal questions. If you don't want to talk to us, just let us know and we'll be done.
I've already told you.
That you want a lawyer? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Easy enough.
Thank you.
Is there anything else I can get for you in the meantime? I got the water. Do you need a bathroom break or anything like that?
be expected. How long you lived here in Islands? 11 minutes?
6 years.
6 years? The same house? Wow. You married? Single?
Where'd you move from?
Utah County.
Utah County.
And how long were you up there for?
I'm a little nervous.
You're that. You know, to be honest with you, if I was sitting over there, I'd be a little nervous too. So don't worry about it. We're just here to talk, to get your side. And right now we're just asking you just typical questions, like how long you lived here, that kind of thing.
I watched too many detective movies.
How you?
Which one's your favorite?
Me too. You can't, honestly.
They were both arrested and charged.
Mace, you want to let you know what criminal charges for, so you're under arrest? It's going to be 2 counts, second-degree felony of child abuse or neglect, okay? Do you understand that or no? Are you okay? I'm wondering if there's like a medical clearance that needs to, like, do you need medical attention before you go to the jail?
No.
Okay. All right, well, we'll have you, as soon as she gets down here, we'll bring you out, okay?
Okay.
Have you ever been arrested before? I'm just concerned about you. I know you don't believe that. But I've had an opportunity to talk to your husband and kind of worried about your circumstances and obviously your children as well. But you're sure you don't need medical attention or anything like that?
Police would find another child at the house of a woman named Pam, who was also a large part of ConneXions. And there they find the other 2 minor kids. Pam said that Ruby gave them the kids because of some kind of family emergency. And the kids, Pam was like, the kids are cleaning my house. They love cleaning my house. They love being slave labor. It seemed like Ruby was just like letting the kids, hey, you want like, what's we like, do your yard? There you go.
Pick her up, or did you just pick her up? What was going on?
Well, I'm having guests coming, and she came and did some cleaning for me. You ever warm from my house?
Specifically for you.
For you and the child.
Yeah. Okay. So,
What is going on?
as of right now, I'll just need you to give your phone to your husband.
Okay.
Okay. And as of this moment, you're going to be detained right now. Okay.
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 So
So,
what
is
does that mean?
there anything on you?
She's a friend of ours. She comes over and helps me every once in a while to do cleaning and stuff.
Okay. So this is what happened. Okay. Her parents were in the situation of a child abuse allegation.
Okay.
DCFS made the report and went to the house and found children malnourished and locked in a safe. Okay?
In the safe?
In a safe. Okay. So now those officers and DCFS have taken custody of those children, and we're looking for this one. The rec center, when they went to go find her, said that you picked her up.
Yeah, I
So
did.
now they are trying to figure out
Why I picked her
why
up.
you picked her up, what you know with her. Is she okay?
I did make her scrub.
Do something, you
I
know?
did make her scrub the floor, and they vacuumed and stuff because I have company coming tonight from Costa Rica.
Okay.
So, but she did it of her own free will. We had lunch.
These kids were then taken in by CPS. Ruby and Jodi were arrested and held without bail. Kevin Frankie was interviewed, and allegedly he had no idea what was going on and to the extent of the abuse, yada yada.
I'm unaware of your involvement in what's really going on. So for you to say that you're unaware of the status of your kids kind of makes, I know that sounds kind of crummy to you, but it sounds kind of good to me. Like, who lives in that home with your, is it ex-wife? Is it currently a separated wife? Like, who lives in that home with your children?
To be honest, I don't know. I know that she's there with 4 of the children, and our 2 older children have moved out.
Kevin kind of just comes across as a guy who's kind of stupid, been manipulated and hoodwinked pretty bad.
Jodi,
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay.
All I'll say is,
Well, you said you
notified
trusted
them.
her. You said that you think that she's not necessarily. I asked you if you place value on her, but you obviously.
She is an honest. I know her to be an honest and a trustworthy individual, and so yeah, I trust her.
Now, Kevin has never been charged or anything. It's kind of, it's not believed he knew what Jodi and Ruby were doing because he had been kind of kept away since Jodi kind of like got into their lives. I don't know if Jodi would be the ringleader because it seems like Ruby was good enough at being shit on her own.
So he had.
I'm sorry, what?
He had duct tape on his extremities, on his hands, on his ankles, and those were covering rope burns that were used to tie him down. Take a second and think about what I just said. That's the condition of your son. Given that information, your son was taken to the hospital. A warrant has been applied and granted by the Department of Child and Family Services to remove from your wife's care. So no one right now is going to have access to these two children based on their physical condition. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Would you condone that behavior?
Would I condone that behavior?
That's my job. My job is to find out your knowledge of the treatment of these
based on your
precious
description,
children.
no. But again, I don't know the details, or I don't know. But as you described that sounds
Horrible. Disgusting. No human being should be treated like that.
Okay.
That's my thoughts. But again, we might be different on that.
What's going to happen with my wife? I love my wife.
I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I don't know. Haven't had an interview with
I
you.
don't press charges against my wife.
Possibly.
Now, Kevin would later give a second interview, and oh boy, yeah, Ruby was literally insane, as was Jodi. You got religious extremism mixed in with a dash of Jodi having a ghost. Jodi also wanted the YouTube channel. She was clearly taking over their entire lives.
Dinner afterwards, and that's where Jodi really opened up to the women in a private conversation that she believed she was being tormented and haunted by shadow figures every night. So we went down to Jodi's house in May of 2021. That was the first time I'd ever been there. And it blew my mind, as I'm sure you have walked in there and gone, how does a therapist live like this? Like, it didn't make sense to me. But we were there, and she opened up and talked about, her struggles and what was going on. And I gotta say, I'm a smart guy. I'm an engineer. I can't explain some of the stuff that happened while we were there. Like crashes in the basement while we were talking upstairs, and plates in the kitchen just flying off by themselves, full speed, smashing on the wall and falling to the floor. She wanted to legally work with Jodi's attorney to basically give Jodi a passenger.
Calls from the jail show Ruby she was playing the violin for herself constantly in her own head.
This is a witch hunt. The devil's been after me for years. So weird. It's just not necessary. They're trying to exaggerate this.
The most upsetting thing is that I am completely misunderstood. That is the most horrible feeling. Poor Jodi, they misinterpret her, they misunderstand her.
It was after her arrest that Ruby's diary was released and showed the extent of the abuses, which included starving her kids, making them perform manual labor, and once attempting to drown her own son, who was, quote, evil and possessed. She called them the spawn of Satan. Quote, I will not feed a demon. Now, in court, Ruby laid the blame at Jodi's feet, saying it was all under Jodi's direction. She later made a plea agreement and admitted to numerous counts of abuse, pleading guilty to 4 counts of child abuse.
I would like to make a statement without any intent to change my stipulated sentence. For the past 4 years, I've chosen to follow counsel and guidance that has led me into a dark delusion. My distorted version of reality went largely unchecked as I would isolate from anyone who challenged me. I'm sorry for twisting God's word and distorting his doctrines. My greatest desire is to stand in his court someday spotless and confident.
What a drama queen. Ruby was initially going to testify against Jodi. However, Jodi had a change of mind. Might even say she was a little distorted. And Jodi also pleaded guilty to 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. In February 2024, Ruby received 4 consecutive sentences of between 1 and 15 years inside. Jodi received the exact same sentence. Prison will not be kind to either of them, so I guess they finally will be on the receiving end of the punishment they so gleefully dished out to the people they were supposed to care for the most. It's such a bananas story, what started out as this regular, clean-cut, happy-go-lucky, little perfect family YouTube channel quickly devolved into this money-making, grifting, abusive, horrifically abusive scheme. I mean, these kids are obviously all going to be traumatized for life because of what those 2 hags did. Who knows where this would have ended? I'm glad we do not have to find out. And the entire saga of 8 passengers ended with 2 prisoners inside. Fitting. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, here, listen, I'm posting every Tuesday or whenever I post, once, twice a week, whatever it is, so please check it out. Also check out the That Chuck podcast, which has a new episode out every single Monday, and yeah, so many upcoming stories that I'm gonna be yapping away to you about. We'll do some internet mysteries, some disturbing things from the internet, some TikTok killers. I got that video, I'll be coming out soon, of me doing a ride along with a Boston police detective. And also, I gotta talk about some strange things that are going on at a lake in Austin. So look forward to all that, but until the next video, please take care of each other and yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out.